Hi, guys. You're welcome to today's episode on Trinity Relationships, hosted by your very own Doctor and Dr. Mrs. Bebonkeng. So, today we'll be sharing with you how we're able to prepare for our wedding on a low budget. And guess what? Our anniversary is coming very, very, very soon. And so, it's an exciting moment even for us on this platform today because it helps us to go back to our days of little beginning and helps us to remember how God has been faithful and good to us over the years. So before we go right in, and also una too like gist. So today we'll be sharing with you how we were at the time, the level at which we were, the little difficulties we were facing, what was our mindset for us to think that okay, we could marry at that time or we could prepare for a wedding, and we'll also be giving you updates on the amount where possible. So going back, I met my husband in the second year of medical school because I was in a different medical school. It was shut down and the rest and the rest and the rest. And they say the rest is history. I found myself in the second year in the Faculty of Medicine. And there we were just friends, like we're friends. I was liking someone else. He was liking someone else too. Then as God will have it, we got into courtship and our mind was to get married in the 6th year of medical school, but we had issues along the line. We broke up, and then entering into the 6th year, that's when we came back together. And so we had to like start things kind of all over, though continuing from where we stopped. And that's how we had to prepare for our wedding, which we decided was going to be immediately after our graduation. So for the finance aspect, I think he's better placed to share it with us, my darling husband, ever loving.
Okay, let me just give you guys some few background in which he did not say. We started dating, I think, around the 5th year or the 5th or the ending 4th year, going to the 5th year in the university, and we were not working anything, we're not doing anything officially. So you may be thinking that, okay, we were having a certain job we're doing. No, we're just students, and then we did some small sales along the side when we were thinking of our wedding, but we were just students, medical students, and our vision back then when we first started the courtship was to get married in the 6th year, but along the line we had a breakup. So when we came back, we now pushed it to the 7th year, and we had, I think, about a year to prepare for our wedding. And I think the amount of money we had in the beginning was about 300,000 francs. Yes, 300,000 francs. I think that was what we had when planning for our wedding. So we believe that even if you're on a low budget, there's a wedding for you, and it's possible to get married with the little you have. So we'll be giving you our history, how we succeeded, and the different things we're able to do along the line, so you can pick up from there and maybe learn something or apply technique we use or a wisdom we applied. And I think it will work for you too. So stay tuned.
So from the way he talks about the finances, I'm sure you guys can already guess who is the spender and who is the saver. So the first thing that came to us was the season. Like, I remember when my husband was like, I believe we can get married at this time. You see us today and you would think that, oh, I was like, okay, wow, it's beautiful, it's possible in my mind. Like, I told him that if I cannot remember the conditions I gave, but I said, okay, yeah, I remember. I said, if this mentor was able to say, no, it's possible. I think 2 of our mentors that I gave, like, if we speak to them and they confirm that we can do it, don't ask me where my prayer to God went to, but I don't know. I just needed that other confirmation, that extra confirmation from our mentors. And surprisingly to me, the way they were all excited about it and told us that it's possible, I was like, wow. So I had to remain true to what I had said earlier, and that's how the preparations began. And from those confirmations, we believed that indeed it was a season to get married.
Another aspect she did not include is that she was very skeptical about the finances, like how much do we have. So she gave it a particular time. I think it was about 3 or 4 months for us to be able that if you could save I think $1 million, she'll believe it's possible. So God being faithful, I think in the space of 3 or 4 months, we're able to hit the $1 million target. So from there, that's when she was in the flow, and we actually began preparing effectively. So, and for me personally, I think I had always felt that it was a time. So I had known that I was in that period where I could get married. And what I did not want to get into my vision was the aspect of finances. I knew that if God can permit us to get married, if God can, this is the season, I just knew that somehow, if I'm to trust on God, do prepare wisely, it's possible. It's a possibility. So
I mean, my husband's faith at the time, like raw faith, very raw faith. Like he knew that it was just so possible, and I really thank God for it, because in those moments where the doubt will creep in, anytime I just have a discussion about him, I just like you just clear some of the doubt, and then we'll keep moving on. And like we already set a date for where we wanted the wedding to be, on when we wanted the wedding to be. So we set a date. That one is primordial. If you are with that guy or with that girl and you guys are reluctant on setting a date, then starting the preparations with the little you have, it will not come. It's not going to come to realization, because you keep telling yourself that, no, I have time.
yeah.
What am I even saving for? Like, there's no objective. It's not clear. The picture is not clear. The Bible says that you should write the vision clearly and plainly, so that those who see it will be able to run with it. So if you are not able to have that vision, and you don't even write it, and you don't even have any prospects in mind, then what are you going to be preparing for?
So for us, when we set that, we had a date, because I think that if you can set a date for your wedding, it will help you mentally, and even in the way you hustle around, it'll be different. Because for us, we had a date, 2 years, we want to get married in 2 years, and we were at the goal with 300,000 francs. 300,000 francs, and we split. We went forward that to split those 2 years into specific seasons that we wanted to save. Let's say in 3 to 4 months, we want to be able to save maybe half, about 300,000 francs. It became practical, because when you have a date, it helps you. You can now further split it into small subsections, or in months. It will help you have a picture of where you're leading to, and no matter the amount of money. Because what we also did was to give a budget for the wedding. We had a budget, yes, our budget was set about, I think, 5 million. That's about how many $1,000? That should be about $10,000. Yes,
Up to 10,000.
Yes, 5 million can be about $10,000. So our target was $10,000 for the wedding. Everything was inclusive, and we had 300,000 francs. And so for us to be able to get to the 10,000 margin, we now came out with a plan, like how we're going to do it. So we had a plan. We had options. Now, our main source of income at that time were our parents, because we were students and we had allowance. That was our main source of income. So because we had a project in 2 years to get married, we started doing something else, like at the side. Now my wife and I began selling medical instruments and some books, and we'll do some small business here that could add up. And we have some other techniques we're going to be listening to you. So we had a plan.
My husband has forgotten to tell us that he was selling everything sellable, because he was not even limited to medical stuff. I remember there was a time where he was selling phones. Yes, he was selling phones. And I think, microscope, it falls under medical equipment. Like, he was willing to sell anything. He was selling hard drives too. He was selling...
Lawfully, please. Not yeah.
He was selling USB keys, like anything sellable. He was in for it. At the time, I mean, he was hustling, like real hustling. I saw the way when he does a sale, everything from the sale is going to give me to go and save it at the bank. And we had a book where we're registering all the entries, all the exits, so that it was giving us a picture of how we're moving. I remember the first time that I had to withdraw our first million that we had saved for the wedding. I mean, leaving the bank, I was like, if somebody catches me with this money and wants to seize the money, strength will definitely come from above, because the way I'm going to fight with you, 1 million at the time was huge. So the next technique we used, like you mentioned earlier, was the savings. So we had some principles surrounding the savings. Like the first principle we had was that every unexpected money was saved. So if maybe an uncle came around, if maybe there was an unexpected, maybe like a medical campaign or something, and there was some money profits from it, we had to save everything. But there were exceptional cases where maybe when we wanted to go for an outing together for a date, that okay, we could use a part of the money, but majority of the money was going to our savings.
Yeah. So that's what we did, because we one of the other principle we had is every money that we had that was as a profit from the small side hustle and sales we're making, we're saving everything, we're saving it completely. I remember back then I had a friend, both of us were preparing for our wedding together, we're both classmates. So at times, since we knew that the burden on the finance was on us, we usually go to some extremes, which I would not encourage you to do. But when my allowance usually comes, sometimes after paying my tithe, for example, I will save everything. I mean, I will just go and keep everything in my account. Then after I've given her to go and give my allowance, and then we will now start seeing how figuring a way of how we're going to have money. So it usually pushes me to go extra mile. Like I knew that okay, my allowance in the next week is on me, and I have to look for a way. So I'll go out there. Maybe I used to just know where stores are. Like that's one of the faculties I have. I will just know where they sell things. So if you need something, since I could do a better bargain for you, I will do a bargain for you, and they give me a commission from that. Let's say they're selling a phone, 200,000 francs, for example. I'll go out, verify the amount in which that phone can be sold actually, or what the supplier, let's say the supplier gets it. Let's say maybe I'll know the price at which the supplier gets the phone, and then now I'll come now and be that middleman that will help to get to make the client buy a little bit lesser than what they would normally buy, and then from there I'll have a commission. So that's what I was doing. Let's say, let me give an example. Let's say the phone is sold in the market price is 200,000 francs, and they give the suppliers. The suppliers give the retailers, let's say, at 180,000. Okay, knowing that I'll come out, okay, then do a negotiation that the customer can get it, let's say, for about 195,000, for example, and then I could have a commission in that. So that's what we're doing, and I'll just go and give her should go and save. So that's what we're doing.
I mean, during that time when I saw him selling things, I was like, are we really going to be able to meet our target? But God, when God is leading you on, he makes the provision.
Yeah.
Like I saw people increasingly needing things that I did not even expect. Some calls that were coming in saying that they wanted these huge sales actually, that normally I knew that it's not going to be possible if not for the finger of God over us in that season. I mean, God's grace, his guidance, his provision, his leading was so evident in that season. Another thing that we used still under the saving techniques was prioritization. Yes. Yeah. So we decided that okay, on the wedding day, if we look good, and after the wedding, if we have where to stay, then the rest were minor things for us, like maybe what the guests will eat. Yes, what the guests will eat, because when we'll be suffering after, I don't think those guests will be there. So if the guests had just like the barest minimum to eat, like which other things are the decor, what else? Those extra things that come with the wedding. The bride price too, that one even was not negotiable. The bride price, the way we looked on the wedding, and where we'll stay after the wedding. So those three things were our topmost priorities. Every other thing.
Yeah, so generally I'll encourage you to put what is a wedding, for example. There are basic things involved. You have to be able to pay the bride price. You have to be able to stay somewhere after you've paid the bride. You've got to marry. You have to be able to, look good. So we had set our priorities. Our priorities were not the third parties. We are getting married to both of us. So anybody that was involved was secondary. So we focus on getting I remember one of the last money we had was when I rented a room. By the way, yes, we got a room and we paid for 6 months. That means if let's say something happened along the line with the money, we know that we have a place to stay. So that was our focus. We did not want to go to, spend everything and then after the wedding, don't have where to stay. And then we had where to stay, and we knew that after that, we have something to eat. So that was our focus. And then the next thing was, like she said, looking good. You don't want to get married and you're looking shabby. So we wanted to look good, and you should be able to pay the bride price. That's the barest minimum. So every other thing came secondary to us. So that's how we approached it.
And I think I really looked good on my wedding. I was a hot bride, actually. Very, very hot. You'll see the pictures soon. Maybe in our eventual videos, we'll be able to share some of those pictures with you. And when you look even at some of our other thumbnails, you'll see how we looked on our wedding. I mean, he was a handsome groom and I was a very, very, very beautiful bride. So another thing that helped us was that we do not count on promises that people made. I mean, there was this couple when we shared with them that were praying for our wedding. They were all excited. They were. I mean, I knew that I knew that these people, when we say that this is the date and we need this and that, even if what happens, those people, they must chip in something. Do you know that till today, they've not even asked us how we got married? Like when they see us, they're like, how are you guys? Like all smiley. And we on our part, we cannot hold it against them because the Bible is very clear. Cursed is the one who puts his trust in man. So there was a certain time where all the fear, the anxiety came, and we realized that we're shifting our dependence on man instead of God. And then God had to remind us of his word, that in this season, he's the one who has pushed us into the season and not man. And that's how we gradually just shifted our focus back on our own Jehovah Jireh, our provider. What do you really have to say about this thing? I remember.
You see,
it was a whole lot of emotions for us.
Yes. And I will encourage you, if you are getting married, you are the one that took the decision. So don't bring people into your plan. If not, you get hurt and you be having grudges on people for nothing.
For no reason.
Yes, you came up with the idea to get married to somebody. You cannot be now planning on somebody else's budget. I mean, it doesn't make sense. Like most of us, that's a mistake we make. If you are getting married, you took the decision. And don't put your plan on people's budget. People have their budget. They have their plan for their budget. So when you're getting married, if you depend on God, that's if you depend on God, put God into the picture. Now, when you put now God into the picture, God now will now you obviously use people that you do not expect.
Yeah.
And the people that were top priority in your list, you will not use them. So the key is that both of you as a couple plan, depend on God. And then God will now raise helpers that usually will be the people that you don't expect. So avoid putting people in your plan. So make your plan. Don't depend on people. And another thing I'd like to add on this is don't try to please people. If you're making up a wedding, if you like a big wedding, for example, let it be your choice. But don't include a big wedding because you want to please A or B. You see, when people come for your wedding day and eat, at times they'll make foolish comments, complaints that no matter how you try to maybe make your guests comfortable, you always notice one or two problems that will pop up that people are going to say. That should not be your focus, because if you are trying to please people, you are going to go way above your budget and spend unnecessarily to please people. So, but if you have the budget, you spend. But now we're looking at people that are on a low budget. If you have a low budget, don't focus on pleasing people. Get what you want to put, what you want to do. You are the one organizing the party, so you state how you want the party to look like. Avoid including people that are going to make you go beyond your limit. You have a limit. All of us have a limit at each phase of our life. So when you're on a low budget, you have a financial limit. So work within those margins, and don't expect you to move from one level quickly to another level. Let's say if you are somewhere that's been working on, let's say, your maximum faith level on finance or on an expect it should be $1 million. Don't go and plan a wedding on 20 million or 30 million, for example. That would just be unrealistic and will not be real. So I encourage you, avoid planning based on people. Plan on your budget. So.
And the sad thing now is that social media brings this pressure that if you are not self-controlled, you feel that, no, I want to have my wedding for the glam. I remember talking with one lady and she was like, no, now she cannot hire this photographer because she needs her wedding to feature on a certain magazine. I've forgotten the name, and a certain website and the rest. That, do I know this person? They started naming some celebrities that their weddings aired on that website, and they featured on a certain magazine. And so for her wedding, she wants it to be that way. Believe me, till today I've not heard about the wedding. Maybe it just passed on unnoticed on my part, or I don't know, or maybe finally they did a low-key something, but I don't really remember seeing the wedding anywhere. Like, I don't remember noise being made about her wedding. So in my mind, I'm like, what was all that for? So please, 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 limit yourself to the budget you have. Excuse me. And for the ladies, please don't put pressure on the guys.
I'm telling
Because
you. Please.
I think
We beg you.
the proportion of women who like those flashy weddings is less than the proportion of the men. And you should know that
You know that most often the money does not come from their pockets now. If they won't bring in the money, they will have a, you
and
understand?
I think our culture too has really made things more difficult for young people who want to marry, because the ones that, okay, this auntie, this one will say that, no, I have 10 guests that want to be present. This other one will tell you that, no, I have 5 guests. And all those things just render it complicated. And sometimes people will make you to feel that, okay, if I did like something small, like, okay, I went to the council, signed it, then we had a little family or closed traditional wedding, then maybe we went to our pastor's office with some few witnesses, and then they prayed for us, and then we just shared something small with our family. They make you to feel that, no, there's a need for you maybe years after to still do something big, because they feel that you are not married. But you are married. You're already married. People want to complicate the whole thing. So please stick to your budget. If it is 500,000, there's a wedding for you. Yes. If it's 300,000, I believe there's a wedding for you too.
I think I believe that too.
There is a wedding for you, actually.
And you may ask, did our family really help us? Yes, our family helped us
greatly,
enormously.
Greatly.
But you see, I personally did not want to do a wedding where my mind is on somebody. I wanted the wedding to be on us. Our mind was us organizing our wedding. Now, if anybody comes, including our family members, to us, it was just now a benefit, because you don't want a situation where somebody does something for you later on in your life, the person start mentioning that to you. I mean, it will go a long way to spoil your mood. So we wanted to do things ourselves and to our capabilities, like what we could do. That's what we wanted to limit with, so that when we look back, we can see where the Lord took us from and how God is progressing us. So I will encourage you, put God first. Let any other person be secondary, including your family, because you don't want a story where if your father or your parents did not do the way you're thinking, you start getting angry with anybody. When you put God first, even somebody gives you just a bottle of drink as his own contribution, you'll be very happy, because the person was not initially in your plan.
Yeah.
They were just secondary. So you're going to be very happy with anything anybody gives you. Whether your auntie, whether your parents, your siblings, you're going to be very happy. But once you have put them in your mind, you're expecting something from them, and even if they give you their best at that season, because they have their own plans, you're not going to be happy, because you already had a preconceived mind about what you're expecting from them. And even if at that time they gave you their best, you will not see it. So I will encourage you, don't put people on the plan. You decided to get married. You both have decided to get married. So avoid putting people into the plan. And secondly, I'll encourage you to have in mind that the money you have, there's a wedding, as my wife have already said. Let's say, for example, you have a wedding, let's say you have 1 million, that's your budget. I will just give you, like she said, I'll just expand on what she have said. I mean, the focus on the wedding should be you meeting the guest parents and the parents agreeing or giving their daughter to you, what we call traditional wedding. That's the key wedding, the traditional wedding. And then after the parents have accepted, then now, if you don't have money to do a white wedding, you can still wear, the girl can still wear her beautiful white dress, you wear your suit, and then you go to a small gathering. I mean, you can choose to make one of them big, the rest should be just low key. You can now choose to go to an enclosed place, your family, the pastor, whoever is presiding over the wedding, in a small close, your family members, and then that's it. You will see that you will not have the pressure of the wedding, because when you look back in our traditional culture, how people were getting married, people could easily get married because the burden on finance as we have now wasn't there.
Yeah, it was really very small.
Very small. If somebody wanted to get married, you take a gold, palm wine, yam, that was it. You're married though. But now our custom, because of the materialism we've gotten into, we stretch a lot of things. And some men out there, if you're one of them, don't be afraid. You can do a wedding on the budget you have. We have stretched things so much that when people think of a wedding, the only thing that comes to mind is stress, money. But that's not the aim of a wedding. When I look at how some of the patriarchs of old got married. I mean, there was less of all this party that we are having, because we have a lot of a culture of the party, spending, beauty. See, if you don't have money to do a photo shoot, for example, or hire a professional photographer, call any of your friends that has a good phone. Check. You have a wedding picture. But if you think you can go the extra mile, no matter how much you have, you can always see a photographer that will be willing to accept your budget and provide you with an acceptable photo. Or you can negotiate and just say, okay, I want just pictures, no videos. I mean, they'll do something appropriate for your budget. I remember when I had a couple. The lady had put a lot of pressure on the guy about a particular wedding the guy had to organize. So the guy now had to go to the bank and borrow some money for the wedding. As you can imagine, you go and borrow money to feed people.
Borrow money for a wedding.
I'm telling you. So when they finally got married, their first 2 years was hell, because the guy had to use about 2 to 3 years to pay back the loan. I mean, so when they are now married, but they cannot feed. But people in the world are having now, outside, are having a mindset about the wedding. Like the wedding was this, but now you are married, you're almost dying. I mean, it's something
of your packaging.
Don't try to please people and then go and kill yourself. And then instead of you, after your marriage, people should be enjoying the bliss of the marriage. You are thinking of a loan.
That's the worst. That's the worst note to start your wedding or your marriage on. I'm telling you.
Honeymoon you cannot go. Nice food you cannot eat. People cannot visit you because you don't have what to offer them. And you start hiding.
You run away from for the till you pay the loan and you are settled. I mean, it's terrible.
And then what if now a child now comes in? How will you people do it? Because
if a child comes in
and you're having a loan to pay, and you know the bank will not spare you. They'll get the money. So you can imagine the context where you can put yourself in. But if you did it in your means, when you get married, you start having the promotion that God is giving you. I mean, it's going to be a bliss. I mean, that's what I encourage you to do. So
I mean, it's still about you focusing on God for provision. I remember my husband sharing with me that on the eve of our traditional and council wedding, he wasn't able to sleep. Maybe we should share this story better with us and how God provided for us in a way that we didn't expect, and how we're even able to gather again enough after the wedding.
Okay, just to give you this is a part that we forgot. I remember when we were getting married, and you know when you're the male, you have your mind will be functioning differently. So I remember a week before the wedding, we had, I think, from the things we are not yet completed, because we pay some of the things part. We not give complete money, so the people were asking the money. So we needed at least 1 million francs to kick the wedding on that day to start going on. So there were a lot of things that we need. We had exhausted all the budget we have, and I remember I could not sleep. I had a friend of mine, Elise.
God bless you, Elise. Love you.
I remember on the wedding. Was it traditional wedding? Yeah, it was traditional wedding. I will sleep by 2 a.m. in the morning. I'm up because I'm believing.
After the traditional wedding. No, it was the eve.
Yes, it was within that week. Now the whole week. Yes. I mean, we met one of our mentors, and he encouraged us to go and inform some people about our wedding. Those were people that we least expected them to help us. As we just enter their houses, they just tell us, please, just wait. They just go to their room, want to see an envelope. I mean, it's like
thick envelope, please.
It's like if the
envelope, thick, please be specific. Thick.
It was like if the Lord told them that a couple is coming to your house. When they come to your house, don't discuss with them. Just give them the money. I mean, that's how I felt. It's like you are coming to give somebody an invitation card for your wedding, and the person doesn't take time to discuss with you. The person will go to his room and remove money and give you, and then tells you that they don't want to waste your time. They know you're busy. Can you imagine that?
I was like, how can I be busy to receive money at this time? Busy? How? I mean, wait.
So, and it was, to us, it was like a miracle. I knew that it must be God. Because how can you explain that? I mean, the people that have promised you, they are not willing to give you. And then somebody that you don't even expect, you least expected. I mean, you enter their houses. So, and that's how God was provided. I remember on the I did say the traditional wedding, something like that. Yes. And we needed some money, and then God also made the provision. The person just called us, counted the money, bam, opened it. Oh, God. I mean, and I was able to see that truly God was involved in the process of the wedding. Because, you see, when you are preparing for wedding, there are many doubts Are you taking the right decision? Are you that will pop up, that may pop up in your mind because of the concern we're having. But how we saw God providing for the wedding just made me know that he's involved in the issue and that he knows what is happening to us. Because I could feel that there are a lot of things that God pleased to make sure that we did not have any lack. And I remember after the wedding, what amazed me was after the wedding, we had enough people. God was able to touch the hearts of many. That means we have, like, how much do we have?
I think we had a little over $1 million.
$1 million plus.
That we had gathered.
Yes, $1 million plus. That means enough money for us to
start our lives,
to eat and be merry. I mean, so that was how I felt that God was real in activities of our lives. I mean, my faith in God ever since our wedding has never been the same. I believe that God makes provision because of our wedding. But now I'm imagining if I had depended on people or wanted people to fill in that gap, I would not have had the same faith in God like I have today. Because I know that if I have kids now, God will certainly provide because I have seen him provide. So in my mind, there's no doubt about God being able to take care of us and everything that concerns us, because I saw him how he walked on our wedding day. To me, it was amazing. I could not believe that you just get to somebody's house. I was expecting the person to talk and then just say, okay, we'll come. Nothing like that. I was like, I knew that somebody must have spoken to them. To me,
and some gave the money like that and they were present. And mind you, this was like 2 days to the white wedding, because I think it was the eve of the traditional and the civil wedding.
No. Everything happened in a week. There was a period of a week in this.
Okay. Yeah, that's true. It
happened in a period of a week.
The ones we saw on the eve did not come. It's okay. That's true.
Yes. So I just believe that if you're on a low budget and you want to organize a wedding, it's possible. If you also try to be a little bit not extravagant and plan accordingly, you'll be amazed at what God will do along the line. So I encourage you.
And also being practical.
Yeah, being practical. Don't have unnecessary expectations. You cannot be on a low budget, or you are starting off your life and you want to compare yourself with a 30-year-old or let's say a 40-year-old male that is organizing a wedding, and you are in your 20s. You want to have the same wedding. Man, that's not realistic now. I mean, you should desire to grow. I mean, like, I'm happy because everything that we have in the past, today we can do everything better. I mean, that is something that you want to grow.
The process
is important. It's important to go through the process. Don't hurry. Allow God to take you through the process. It's going to be a beautiful experience.
I'm telling you.
Yeah.
And being practical, get something doing.
Yeah.
God blesses the works of your hands.
Yeah.
You can remember we told you earlier that we're students, but we're into sales. Like, if I see someone who needs this thing, I'll rapidly text my husband, can you? I'm like, yes, just tell the person to give me some time. So work together as a team, have something doing, no matter how small. God is able to bless you through it. So all too soon, we have come to the end, and my darling husband will give the closing remarks.
So, just something to add on what she's saying. Please just excuse me. We had a year, and in that space of a year,
my husband has taken this topic to heart. You better watch till the end.
We were able to raise 3 million plus. I'm not talking about a third party, just my wife and I. What we were able to say, I could see that people came to us in ways that normally my business skills won't bring people like that, but I could see actually that God was involved. Because how long? I mean, even if we were on a salary, we wouldn't have had that money
at all.
I mean, but you saw the people come and be asking things, and when we were calculating everything, we were surprised how much in 1 year we were able to raise 3 million. I mean, it was like, what? So it could only have been God. So I encourage you. So
okay,
conclude us, please.
So finally, we have come to the end. So if you were blessed by our video, please share with that couple you know is hesitating to start preparing for their wedding. Start with that couple that you've been talking to about it being possible for them to marry and they're doubting. Share with anybody you know this information will be helpful to. So thank you, our faithful viewers. Thank you, our new viewers. And
subscribe,
please do well to subscribe, like, share, comment.
And we're expecting your comment. If you have questions about your wedding, low budget in that area, or you know somebody, please do share with us.
If there's anything that you want us to talk about, you can you can get to us at our email address. It's on our channel page, or you can put your question on the comment section, and when we get it, we'll respond to you. So stay blessed and have a nice week. Love you all.
God bless you.
Bye.